Hey there, James here. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to another one of my videos. Now in this lesson I'm going to show you 6 of the most important guitar scales which pretty much all guitar players need to know. There are other scales and loads of other ways to play them aside from how I'm going to show you in this video, but I'm going to show you the most common and useful fingerings so that you can jump in and start experimenting with them in your playing straight away. I'm not really going to show you any licks here, however I will post links underneath this video in the description to tons of my other videos on my channel which take you through blues licks and rock licks and all sorts of other things in whatever style you like. So you can check that out after you've learnt some of the scale fingerings in this lesson. Pause the video as we go through each scale and use the on-screen tablet chart to learn each shape. And we're going to be doing all these scales off an E string root. And don't worry if you're not sure what that means, we're going to be talking about that later on. But for now, let's dive in and look at our first scale shape. Now the first scale is the minor pentatonic scale, and you probably know this already, but stick with this lesson because we're going to cover some other scales later on which you might not know. This is so important that we have to go through it. Here it is in the key of C. This is the root note of the scale here on the 8th fret on the low E string. The minor pentatonic scale is used extensively for playing blues, rock, metal, country, pretty much every guitar style there is. So if you don't know that one already, check it out because you're going to be using that one all the time. With a simple tweak, we can turn this minor pentatonic pattern into the blues scale, which is another very commonly used scale. It's almost the same as the minor pentatonic scale. When we get to this string, instead of going 8 to 10, we're going to go 8, 9, 10. We're going to add a note in between. Then it carries on as normal. See this little added note there on the A string. Now we're going to add another note on the G string. We're going to go 8, 10 and then add 11 on the G. So we're adding a note there on the end. After that it carries on as normal, just like the minor pentatonic pattern. So now you know the blues scale too. Here's the complete shape starting on the root, here on the E string. As you can see, the minor pentatonic and the blues scale are almost exactly the same thing, and you can kind of use them interchangeably and use both scales at the same time. Be a little bit aware of that added note though, because it can sound great, but sometimes in the wrong situation it may sound a little bit out. So just handle that one with care. Now I keep mentioning the root note, and I said that we'd talk about that, so let's do that now. The root note is the note that the scale is built on. For example, if we're playing a C minor pentatonic or a C blues scale, the root note is C. Now this is very important when it comes to moving our scales around and being able to use them in all keys and becoming a very versatile guitar player. So let's just have a quick look at how we use the root note now to become fluent all over the guitar neck. The reason that we're playing C minor pentatonic with this pattern is that we're starting it on the 8th fret here on the E string. Now that note is a C. The thing is though, is we can use this same pattern for any other key as well. We just need to change the root note. For example, at the 5th fret on the E string, that note is A. So if we played our pattern there, we would now have an A minor pentatonic scale. We don't need to change the actual scale shape, we just move it to a different place. It's kind of like moving bar chords around the neck. If we needed to play D blues scale, for example, we find a D on the E string. Here it is up at the 10th fret. Play our D scale pattern we saw earlier. And now we have D blues scale. That's why I keep highlighting the fact that this is the root, because then you can use the notes on the E string to move all these scale patterns around to any key you need. Now I've got another video on this on my channel and I'll post a link to that underneath in case you want further information about using the root note. Next I'm going to show you a really handy way to extend our minor pentatonic pattern. I call it the sliding minor pentatonic scale. The root note's in the same place and we start off just like the first shape. But when we get to the G string, we go 8, 10 and up to 12. Then we're going to go 11 to 13 on the B and 11 to 13 on the top E. I like to do this position shift with my second finger a lot of the time because it sets up my fingers here, puts them in a strong position for using the top part of the scale. If you're a rock player, then there's another handy scale which you need to know, the natural minor scale. And this is kind of like the minor pentatonic with a few notes added in. You see, it's kind of built around the minor pentatonic framework, we're just adding some other notes in. The natural minor scale is also called the Aeolian mode, so you'll hear it referred to by that name as well. All these scales are minor scales, and they'll sound great if you use them in a minor key. But what about major scales and major keys? Well, we're going to look at two. Let's start by looking at how to play the major pentatonic scale. We're going to start with our little finger on the root this time at the 8th fret on the low E string. Here's the pattern. The major pentatonic scale is great for playing in major keys, and it sounds great in country rock, country music and pop music. I've got some videos on my channel taking through a bunch of licks with it, so see the descriptions below if you're interested in that. As well as the major pentatonic scale, it's handy to know the major scale. So let's have a look at how we play a C major scale with an E string root. Start with your little finger on the root again. So if you were soloing in a major key, which one of those two major scales should you use? C major pentatonic or C major scale? Well, you can use either. In fact, you may have noticed that the major pentatonic scale is simply the major scale with a couple of notes taken out. So think of them as interchangeable, but the major pentatonic scale is often a safer bet if you're fairly new to major key soloing. So there's 6 of the most useful guitar scales you'll ever learn, and of course there's a lot more we could say about every one of these scales, and you'll find some links to some useful lessons on my channel in the description below to help you learn about the different areas that you might be interested in, including how to use them and what to do with them, and a lot of example licks. If you like the way I teach, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and remember to visit my website. There's a lot of exclusive extra stuff there which you won't find on my YouTube channel, including some extra freebies which you can get your hands on. Anyway, I hope this lesson helps you out. Learn these scales thoroughly and then start experimenting with some of the sounds that you can get out of them, and check out the links below for some other videos to help you even more with these scales. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time in another lesson, so have a great day and I'll catch you next time.